guys, and welcome to this edition of Politics Analysis. Guys, this interview that I'm about to show you is packed with so much about the 2023 presidential elections, from the INEC shenanigans to the election petitions, the judiciary, the political parties, and so much more. So I thought I should bring this for the enjoyment of my subscribers. So if you are not a subscriber to this channel yet, what are you waiting for? It is free to subscribe. Just pause the video right now and subscribe. Also, smash that like button and also the notification bell so you get notified anytime we post new videos. Thank you. So now, let's get into it.
Related matters that has further been mainstreamed in the judicial conversation, no longer as a tangential or peripheral element to be dismissed outrightly by media guys or strategic communications of that formation. But now the judges will litigate at the lower level, and the Supreme Court justices will litigate this matter. The foundations of the moral order, together with the powerful, data-driven position which the PDP article together constructed, may well drive this into a conclusion beyond what I can speculate now. But that is strong enough. And for me, if the Bola Tinubu wing and the government of the day supporting it understand the robustness of this challenge, they should better focus their energy on it. If they try to throw, shade at people in terms of banning very strong works from the DSS about people trying to form interim government, issue of treason, issue of insurrection, unpack these three elements. Interim government is an arrangement only the government of the day can arrange. The government of Muhammad Buhari, in concert with the military, have the capacity to arrange an interim government scenario or infrastructure. Nobody in the street can do it. With your brooms, or your call girls, or your banner, or your t-shirts, or flyers, you decide on interim government. It's only the government that can. And treason is a potent word they don't wave around. If somebody is accused of treason, you must pick the person up and begin to interrogate to find out the conspirators, co-conspirators of that treasonable something. That people walk around free because they're Democrats who have persuaded themselves that they have to go through the judicial apparatus to seek for redress, and yet as a minister you're banning West treason and insurrection. That is meaningless.
Now let's turn to the elections tribunal and the legal challenges. You touched on it briefly that are coming up. I mean, some very well-respected lawyers, and no lesser person than the former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olisa Abakoba, senior advocate of Nigeria, have urged the tribunal to try and conclude the petitions against Bola Tinubu's victory before the swearing in of a new president on May the 29th, given how politically charged things are currently in Nigeria. Do you agree that the hearings should be accelerated? Because part of the reason why all these agitations are going on is simply, as Elisa pointed out, because the issue of the presidential election remains unresolved.
Okay, the issues are very much unresolved, up in the air. Indo INEC has spoken, and he's been derided for speaking the way Mani did. Look at this basic issue of the contradiction of the INEC apparatus, the chairman and the spokespersons. They're talking about the glitches and the difficulty they have to upload this result, which means in spite of their best effort, a transcendent moment occurred, something beyond their control. And then Lai Mohammed, as if he's the chairman of INEC, with information the rest of us do not have. Oh no, it was a deliberate, intentional act to pause it in order to avoid the back end or the backbone infrastructure being compromised by hackers. That is very alarming, to say the least. That is number one. If INEC knows what is before Nigeria and the rest of the world over this particular matter, INEC should be well bordered, comprehensively, the way and manner you put it out there. The legal challenges are constrained by constitutional provisions and enactments of the Electoral Act. I wish to align myself providentially and theoretically with the position of Olisa Abakoba, my good friend. But I do understand the nuances and the dynamics of this kind of power play. INEC will do everything humanly possible to drag this matter out. And APC will probably do the same. for the sanity of the democratic order, in order to avoid this tension between constitutional governance and democratic practice, that's the best route to go. But nobody's going to prescribe that for the judiciary. No matter how best they try to rush this case in order to accelerate the hearings, they could tell you that it's better to have a judgment that is well delivered in whatever time than to rush the thing and then have a miscarriage.
Yeah.
So even that happens, what I can counsel Nigerians, including those who are mortally and bitterly wounded, on this studio I talked about the catastrophe or the embarrassment to the nation if APC and Tinubu did do well. And apparently from what I said, they did do well. You can see that sense of embarrassment unfolding every day. This is the most dramatic of the moments for us. And a lot of people, including the Sabagaba, feel that this thing could push this country to a precipice. And the post-colonial could become institutionally and structurally decomposing. But my counsel to Nigerians, it may not be the best advice out there, is May 29 will come, even if the cases are not concluded. A president-elect will be sworn in. That's what the law says.
Yeah.
But then it continues. And then protest marches, robust petition, canvassing positions, as well as the legal processes going on must continue at pace.
Well, the argument that Olisa makes, given his own legal experience, which is extensive, is that he reckons that at least 3 issues can be quickly resolved. One is the issue of 25% of the Federal Capital Territory and its relevance to who becomes president. The other is whether a candidate is permitted to stand as a presidential or vice presidential candidate in an election when he is at the same time a senatorial candidate. And the third issue is related to the qualification of candidates to contest in a presidential election. He reckons these can be resolved within 7 days because they are simply straightforward matters of law. I mean, I'm wondering whether you think he has a point, because as he said, there is a certain unfairness about a petitioner challenging a president-elect who then, whilst the challenge is unresolved, goes on to get inaugurated.
Brilliant position of law and process. And I said I align myself fully with it, and many other commentators who have shared this view. There are others who have shared this view, in a different kind of format, a different kind of sense or perspective. His own is the 3 brilliant elements which are tied together in a whole, in almost a logical flow. I align myself completely with it. My worry, and the worry of any student of Nigerian history and any realist, is as compelling as these views are, in order to salvage whatever will have the dignity of the nation and the sovereignty of the people already lost, according to them. With the judges, this now at the lower level, do the needful. But the problem, I don't know whether we'll decide, tax him on what kind of space he's looking at, the tribunal space and then the Supreme Court space. Assuming the tribunal in less than 2 months weighs on this matter, even in a week or 2 weeks, weighs on this matter and say conclusively, 25% we include the FCT, period. 2, it cannot be a nominee of the party senatorial and be the nominee for vice president, period. 3, there are many impediments to being a candidate, and we take 1 or 2 or 3 and say you are ahead, ensnared by those impediments, can't even start as a candidate. They have a right to go to court, to the next level, appeal to
Absolutely,
the Supreme Court.
they do, yeah.
Supreme Court may not rush their matter as the Court of Appeal. And if the matter is not rushed and we say get beyond the 29th of May, the person pronounced by INEC as the president-elect will say have to be sworn in.
No, I agree with that.
Closure.
No, absolutely.
I don't know whether you pressed him on that.
I think you're very right. I think his argument is not so much that you could, I mean, you won't stop the process unless there is an absolute, final, conclusive judgment from the Supreme Court. But what he's saying is that it reduces, first of all, the tension in society. Because now you're making decisions on certain things.
And clearing those out of the way.
And then you leave the other issues, bigger issues, which could go on and on.
I understand
but
that.
It kind of levels the playing field a little bit.
It does that, and I'm sure the most...
And either gives confidence or takes away confidence.
The most
that,
important lesson...
this could be upturned or not.
The most important lesson, Charles, we learn from this is we still have to tinker with either the constitutional parameters or in terms of time frame or even the electoral act specifying. If we parties did primaries in May, the previous year, and swearing it will occur May the next year, that's 12 calendar months. You could have a situation where primaries are done in May, concluded by early June, as we had in this instance, and the elections could be held in October. You hold this election because you have a sufficient 4 or 5 months threshold to complete even the Supreme Court adjudication before the May 29 swearing in. This is a harsh lesson. We never had an election as bitterly contested as this one. Now the election where the issues of insurrection and treason are thrown up casually. Focus on those in government. Focus on Lai Mohammed. Focus on the campaigning frustration of Bola Tinubu. Focus on the people who speak for him, who write to NBC, who ask journalists to be sanctioned when they've not even taken power. Nigerians should be alarmed about what is coming before them. That's the real fascism Shoika should be talking about. A fascism of a president-elect whose own strategic communication team is choking down the life of the media. It's actually telling them to be prepared for having a rough ride that Buhari even never gave them. He treated the media women with contempt and he snubbed them. Okay, that's fine. He didn't care, he didn't bother. These ones are telling you, we're going to match you every inch. The space you created for yourself in the past 8 years, we're going to shrink it.
Well, listening to you talk, I'm quaking in my boots at the moment.
It's messy.
No, I mean, it's not funny.
It's not funny.
I mean, we'll have to see how it unfolds, because obviously there are constitutional limits to what can be done and what can't be done. But you, of course, let's kind of change direction slightly. You supported the PDP and its candidate Atiku Abubakar in that election.
Even though I've affiliated to the campaign.
You made it clear that you were not affiliated. I mean, you're perfectly entitled to support whoever you want. But do you find it a bit odd, to say the least, that the PDP isn't officially saying much during this period of apparent crisis? And Atiku Abubakar as well?
Two parties come with different timbers or contours of performance or behavior when it comes to post-election matters. You know, a party like PDP can jolly well take it to the court anywhere. Is a party that is founded on a logic of inclusivity of the elite. From 1998, the biggest fold, like an umbrella, accommodating Nigerian elite in a conventional orthodox political setup. The party is like a party of the conventional type. The party that's reliant on day-to-day programming. We have lawyers, we have to sit down with them. For the past 2-3 weeks, the party has been working tooth and nail, defining the legal boundaries of each challenge, dealing with the technical issues of its legal composition, looking at the case already submitted for adjudication and so on. They feel that is far more important and consequential down the line. But you can see that Labour Party has not that conventional, orthodox timber. It is almost an unorthodox, with body that has come with a sense of energy. That energy is that sense of visionary zeal and eruption that will always carry through in terms of the conversation it throws out there. Look at the team of people together. Very powerful team led by brilliant lawyers, but look at what the buildings are doing on the social media and media space. Virtually they're telling the world that in spite of the case going on in court, we have the case for the people litigating against INEC, the current government, Lai Mohammed, Wole Soyinka, Bola Tinubu and his team. So PDP approach is slightly different. As a party that is benign in nature, a party that has seen it all in terms of
that's
power,
more established,
more establishment party.
Some would say,
more establishment party,
right.
And then at the same time, Labour Party less establishment-minded. That means less difficult to constrain its energy and spirit. But I'm sure PDP, its strategic communication will soon pick up when this matter in court begins to be litigated.
But it's been suggested that in the past election, I mean the most recently held presidential election, which was characterized by regional voting to some extent, the PDP did not really properly predominate. And in areas where it used to be virtually unassailable, the Labour Party has eaten into its territory and denied Atiku victory. Because obviously if those states that Peter Obi won were added to the PDP, Atiku Abubakar would have cruised to a comfortable victory.
A wise pundit or analyst, or even a scholar of Nigerian politics and political practice, will hold his breath and hold his peace and keep his gunpowder dry at this stage of this kind of analysis, post-election analysis. We are not even at the post-election stage. We are at the post-INEC declaration stage. We don't know whether the premises are right or wrong. We don't know what the result could have been. We don't know what the outcome is going to be when the Supreme Court has weighed in. So who lost what and who won what are still up in the air. That is why people are bitter in their millions, bitterly, revolted by the excellence of INEC. That's why they are even shocked by looking at the face of Mahmoud, Yakubu Mahmoud. 300 billion we're talking about is not the only money. The EU basket of funding, bringing both the USAID, bringing the EU ISA, bringing the UNDP, bringing the DFI, the British arm, who have constituted close to 40-50% extra again of the entire funding that INEC collected. Not to talk of civil society empowerment, not to talk of the kind of investment from foreigners about democratic governance, electoral practice, electoral reforms, and so on. If you put all these things together, you're talking about close to 500-600 billion that Mahmoud blew with his team and produced this sham election and this fickle-minded result. And when he talked about Lai Mohammed going to UX to talk the way and manner he spoke, they must have laughed at his back and said, we have an ambassador, we have our team, we have election observers from IRI, and the NDI, the IFS, and so on. They've given us everything we need to know. You can't lecture to us about how well the election was conducted, whether it was credible, transparent, or not. They're feeling out there globally. This is not the furious and fairest election. It's the worst election ever conducted in the history of election in Nigeria. That's the way people look at it, including the British.
Well, that's the way some people look
That's when some people look at it. Ultimately, yes, not everybody can be in the same boat, but that's the way a lot more stakeholders in their individuality and multi-form combination look at this particular matter. That is why I repeat what I said on several studios, including here. A sense of national embarrassment will occur if APC does well. APC apparently from INEC has done well in what? That sense of national embarrassment is gripping the soul of the nation. That is where we are.
But given, I mean, just turning back to the PDP again, I know you're not a spokesperson for the party, but I mean, your analysis is always so engaging, and given that you gave them your support unbidden during the last election, it's good to get your assessment of where they are, because given yet another electoral loss, the third in succession after 2015 and 2019, added to the what appears to be never-ending internal wrangling within the PDP, how much of an important point of division is this in the PDP's history? Could this be a watershed moment that signals maybe not the end, but what's left of it could be so crisis-ridden that it'll leave little ability to maintain a party that would continue to function competitively going forward?
Now you see, if you look at classical Greek mythology and you look at the potentate of Prometheus.
Yeah, Prometheus unbound.
Unbound.
Yeah.
From ashes of despair, Prometheus will rise.
The phoenix
like a
rises.
Phoenix rises, incarnating new life and new elements and new symbolisms.
Well, you could argue that Nigeria has been in the ashes for a while. The phoenix hasn't quite been detected yet.
I'm saying that index in the context of the PDP.
Right.
We're not looking at Daedalus, another historical, mythological figure. We're not looking at Icarus, getting burned by the sun like the
yes,
PDP
absolutely.
getting burned. They were looking at the sense of Prometheus. That means, how do you arise from the ashes of despair? If in 2015, Jonathan, we don't know whether he lost or won, he felt that the goodness of the nation will triumph at the end of the day. My ambition, not for the blood of any Nigerian. He may not have won. We don't know what happened in that election. Precisely. But when he litigated, he didn't go to court. 2019, a lot more people believe the outcome wasn't the outcome, but the infrastructure of incumbency may have done the magic. 2023 is even much more absurd, in the sense that we don't even know what this outcome is going to be at the end of the day. So what the lesson for the PDP is like, from victory, repeatedly in the formation of this republic, to setbacks, occasioned by defeat, sometimes not genuine defeat, but at least officially sanctioned defeat.
Yeah, but you could
a lesson has to be learned.
Yeah, but you could make the same argument about the purported PDP victories, because people challenged those victories as well, and people felt that they were using their power of incumbency to perpetuate themselves in power.
That's a part I talk about lesson learned.
Yeah.
Whether the victories officially sanctioned or whether they're organic defeats, whether somehow you genuinely lost and just gave up hope. From defeat, you pick yourself up and said, what lesson will I learn from this latest debacle? Not caused by us, but caused by INEC. And we wish the court will not sustain this debacle. But if at the end of the day, God forbid the cause sustain it, what lesson we don't have learned? Are there internal mechanisms we didn't deploy? Are there resolution steps and methods we didn't explore to the full? Are there some issues of campaign strategy and campaign operations we could have done in a different way? The time hasn't come for that. Because as I said, we don't know who won this election, we don't know who lost. INEC has made a pronouncement, so it's an INEC declared president-elect, not the one validated by the Nigerian people, sanctioned by the Constitution, pronounced by the courts. When that is done, PDP, Labour Party, others, we have to take a retreat, have some leadership conference of a sort and begin to sort out the reads, and say, what happened? What didn't happen? How do we go from there? That time hasn't come yet.
I have to say, Prof, it's an absolute delight sampling just a tiny bit of your intellect there and your assessment of the way things are and where they're headed in this country. I want to thank you very much indeed for joining us. And of course, Professor Udenta is a noted election and post-election socio-political analyst. He's also the founding National Secretary of the Alliance for Democracy.
Oh, thank you. Wow. Guys, I want to believe that you enjoyed the interview as much as I did. Like the interviewer said, I can listen to Professor Udenta forever. The guy has got eloquent and his analysis is just second to none. Thanks guys for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel and give the videos a thumbs up. That helps to show the video to more people. And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Politics Analysis. And from me, from here, it's goodbye.